Watching the athletes compete in the Summer Games can be breathtaking. You too can train just like them with the help of our GTU pros for Utah. Joining me now for the sponsored interview is Dr. Kate Decker, the medical director at Summit Foot and Ankle. Welcome back, Doctor.
How are you today?
I'm doing so well. We were just talking about summer is almost over. Kids are in training and sports training right now.
Yes, lots of that starting up.
So we're excited about the Summer Games and we're watching all of these athletes. It is really important to do the pre-workout, I guess, the stretching.
Yes. I mean, a big part is like, you're seeing all these people like, oh, I'd love to just go do that. You got to get ready for it. You can't just like jump in and do this. So in basic things is stretching before practices, but also doing gradual warm-ups. You're going to stretch and then start running really slow, or even do a walk before you start your run. Just get your heart rate up, get your muscles warmed up, and get ready to do that workout.
Instead of putting your body into shock.
Correct.
In a sense. You also say cross-training is really important to have some variety in your workouts.
Yes. Just doing the same thing over and over again. You're using this, you're just kind of doing that same muscle pattern, everything like that. So especially like running, you're using the big muscles. Doing things like some yoga in there, doing some Pilates in there, things that are going to also build up those little tiny muscles that don't get built up quite as well with running. It also works really well in stability. It can help ankle sprains and things like that. And then just taking a day off the pavement and doing maybe a bike workout or do a swim workout.
It's so good,
helpful.
So good for your balance. And especially women, I have found you get into knee injuries or ankle injuries because you haven't worked out maybe the stretching or resistance training.
Yes. Or maybe you did a lot when you were in high school and now you've kind of done some other part of life and you're trying to get back into it. I mean, it's important to really get those muscles, get those, everything kind of back up and ready so that you're not injuring yourself.
Okay, the shoe is really important. And not all shoes can do all the sports.
Correct.
Walk us through what we should be looking for physically on the outside of these shoes.
Okay, so we just call tennis shoes, and they're not really all that. Every sport really has their own specific shoe. So we've got two right here. I've got a basketball shoe right here. Most court shoes are similar. So anything where you're doing lots of pivoting back and forth, doing quick stops, not just going in one direction. I've got a running shoe here. This is a little more of a trail shoe. But when you look, the big thing is on the bottom of these. I'm trying to make sure, there we go. So you got all of this one. This one's gonna really help with gripping with those trail running. This shoe is mostly just designed to go forward. It's gonna propel you forward. It's gonna help support that foot. But you wouldn't want to go play on the court with this because what's going to happen is you go to cut and all of a sudden you've sprained your ankle because you've caught one of those little nubby things.
Because that could actually cause an injury if you don't have the right shoe.
Yeah, because it's not made to go back and forth really quick. So here we have a basketball shoe. We've got the tread of it more has this so that it can help with all that lateral movement. Same thing with like a pickleball or a tennis shoe. That stuff where you're stopping quick or you're quickly cutting to the left or the right. That is helpful to not have these big treads on there.
So would you recommend a basketball shoe for pickleball players? Like, would that be something?
I mean, if you're really going to get into it, buy the shoe that's right for that sport. I mean, there's a ton of research that's gone into all these designs. I mean, there's a reason every sport has its own. If you're on the field, you're going to want to have a cleat on, because it's going to catch you.
That's true. And you're talking to my son, who is a basketball player, and usually it's higher too.
Correct.
So you want to protect your ankle.
Yep. So it almost gives you a little brace with that, whereas a tennis one, you don't want it to be high because you've got all of that quick movement where you're cutting forward to catch a serve, and you don't want to have a high up on your ankle.
Such a good point, because you don't want the shoe to work against you and cause the injuries. And then, of course, you can see that this is for hiking and for walks in the trail.
Correct. Yes.
All right, those two shoes now.
So these are both actually biking shoes. We've got our mountain, and this one's like a non-clip-in one. So this is a mountain biking one, and then we've got this one for indoor. So you can see a big difference too on the bottom of these. This one does have a place where you could add a clip if you wanted to. But you know what your indoor ones are, your cycling classes, you're up, you're down, you're doing all that kind of running on it. And when you're mountain biking, you're going up, and then when you're coming down, you've got your feet in your position locked in so that you don't fall. You don't want that shoe to slide. You don't want that shoe to have any bumps or whatever. You want this to be a nice, firm platform so that you're really steady on that bike as you're coming down, and you don't have to worry about your feet slipping out from under you.
So, doctor, check your shoes. make sure it goes and aligns right with your sport.
Yes.
And something really interesting at your office, you can custom make cleats and different orthotics.
Yeah, so a lot of times what happens is people need, especially cleats, not a lot of arch support in them. And so, people sometimes need that as they're running, especially, you've got your soccer players running all over the place and they need that extra support. And so what we can do is that we can make custom orthotics and we can send off those cleats so that they will fit perfectly into the shoe.
Oh, preventing all of those injuries. It is a science. Thank you so much, Dr. Decker at summitfootankle.com. All that information, and make an appointment if you need to get those orthotics or cleats.
Yes.
All right. Thanks again to Summit Foot and Ankle for sponsoring this interview.